Hello everyone. Welcome back to our channel, Quickora Global. UK Immigration Reforms Effective 2026, Essential Guidance for Visa Holders and Applicants. The United Kingdom is preparing for a sweeping overhaul of its immigration framework, with significant regulatory changes set to take effect from January 2026. Detailed in recent updates released by the House of Commons Library, these reforms will reshape how migrants approach employment, education, and long-term settlement in the UK. For current visa holders and prospective applicants alike, understanding these changes early is essential for informed planning and compliance. This video outlines revised English language requirements, fundamental changes to settlement timelines, adjustments to graduate visa durations, and new transition rules for skilled worker and graduate visa holders. It also clarifies extended settlement routes, exemptions, and notable changes affecting dependents and access to public funds. Revised English language requirements commencing January 2026. From January 8, 2026, stricter English language standards will apply to individuals renewing skilled worker, scale-up, and high-potential individual visas. The required proficiency level will increase from B1 to B2 under the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages. This heightened benchmark signals a stronger emphasis on workplace communication and professional integration. Visa holders approaching renewal dates will need to prepare well in advance, as failure to meet the B2 requirement could directly impact eligibility for continued residence and employment. Comprehensive changes to indefinite leave to remain eligibility timelines. One of the most consequential reforms involves indefinite leave to remain, ILR. Under the revised framework, the standard qualifying period for many migrants will extend to 10 years, marking a substantial departure from the traditional 5-year pathway. However, exceptions will apply. High earners with salaries of £50,270 or more, as well as public sector workers in health and education, may still qualify for ILR after 5 years. Medium-skilled workers could face a 15-year route, while refugees may require up to 20 years. In exceptional cases, including long-term overstayers, settlement could extend to 30 years. Some applicants may become ineligible altogether if income thresholds are not met. Graduate visa duration adjustments under the new framework. Graduate visas will maintain their current 2-year validity until January 1, 2027. After this date, new applicants will receive an 18-month visa, reflecting the government's intention to accelerate transitions into skilled employment. Notably, PhD graduates remain exempt from this reduction and will continue to benefit from a 36-month post-study visa, reinforcing the UK's commitment to retaining high-level research talent. Restrictions on skilled worker and graduate visa transitions. Transition pathways are also tightening. Graduate visa holders will no longer be permitted to switch to skilled worker visas if their occupation was removed from the eligibility list in July 2025. This change has already impacted sectors such as transport, dentistry, and prison services. An alternative route remains available through the Innovator Founder Visa, which allows eligible applicants to switch from within the UK, provided they meet endorsement and business viability requirements. Extended settlement routes, exemptions, and new dependency rules. Certain groups will retain accelerated settlement pathways. EU settlement scheme participants, spouses of British citizens, and Hong Kong BNO visa holders will continue on a 5-year route to settlement. However, partners of work visa holders must now qualify for ILR independently. Additionally, holding ILR will no longer guarantee automatic access to public funds, reflecting a broader shift towards self-sufficiency within the immigration system. These reforms mark a decisive transformation of the UK's immigration landscape. Early awareness, strategic planning, and professional guidance will be critical for anyone seeking to build a future in the United Kingdom under the new rules. 81 in, 1 out asylum seekers accuse UK of degrading treatment. Detainees being held under controversial schemes say Home Office has caused them severe psychological harm. 80 asylum seekers detained in preparation for being returned to France under the UK government's controversial 1 in, 1 out scheme have called on UN bodies to investigate their treatment, claiming they have suffered fear, humiliation, and psychological distress at the hands of the Home Office since arriving in the UK in small boats. The detainees have compiled a document, Report on Conditions and Treatment at Harmondsworth Immigration Removal Centre, which claims they have been treated unjustly by the Home Office since arriving in the UK on small boats. Harmondsworth is one of 2 detention centres close to Heathrow Airport in London. The asylum seekers, who come from a variety of conflict zones including Sudan, Afghanistan, and Iran, accuse the Home Office of subjecting them to arbitrary detention, denial of legal representation, inadequate medical care, degrading treatment, and severe psychological harm. They say they came to UK in the pursuit of safety, dignity, and a chance to live a peaceful life. They are calling on the UN and human rights groups to urgently investigate conditions that people detained for deportation under the one in, one out scheme are held in. The report's circulation coincides with new government powers coming into force to seize mobile phones carried by people who arrive in the UK on small boats to examine them for information about people smugglers. One offense that under the new powers could lead to a sentence of up to 5 years in jail is collecting information that is of use to those planning an illegal crossing, which could include checking the weather forecast to identify favorable times to cross the channel. Despite a series of measures to tackle people smuggling gangs using small boats to bring asylum seekers to the UK since Labour came to power, 2025 had the second highest number of crossings on record, with more than 41,000 people reaching the UK on small boats. According to the UN's International Organization for Migration, the number of deaths among those in northern France hoping to reach UK was significantly lower than in 2024, despite the increase in crossings. More than 36,000 crossed in 2024, and at least 85 deaths were recorded, while 36 deaths were documented in 2025. The first return flight to France of 2026 under the one in, one out scheme is due on Wednesday. According to the most recent figures issued by the Home Office, 193 people have been sent to France in the first 3 months of the scheme, while in turn 195 have been brought here legally. This represents less than a quarter of the 803 people who crossed the channel in small boats in a single day on December 20th. According to the report, detainees say they were not given sufficient time to rest, recover, or receive psychological support following traumatic journeys and their Home Office interview, with some not having seen or spoken to their families since detention began. They add that along with not receiving adequate medical treatment for a range of physical ailments, the psychological impact of detention has been profound. The report states, many detainees are young adults between the ages of 17 and 30. Detainees report widespread depression, anxiety, insomnia, and emotional breakdowns. There have been multiple incidents involving individuals experiencing severe mental health crises, including self-harm attempts. Detainees report being placed in isolation or disciplinary units. This environment has created constant fear, despair, and uncertainty, with detainees expressing that they feel dehumanized and invisible. The detainees say their treatment since arriving in the UK violates fundamental principles of human rights, dignity, and due process and amounts to being punished for seeking protection. The authors of this report ask not for privilege, but for fairness, humanity, and freedom. They ask to be seen, heard, and treated as human beings, the report states. The UN's Refugee Agency, UNHCR, said, in line with our mandate, UNHCR can play a constructive role in supporting the development and implementation of international arrangements concerning the transfer of refugees and asylum seekers, including the UK, France pilot. We welcome ongoing engagement with both governments aimed at ensuring that any such arrangements uphold international protection standards, are viable at scale, and ultimately contribute to strengthened refugee protection and the rights-based management of movements. In the UK, this includes visits to the immigration removal centres and ongoing dialogue with the Home Office. A Home Office spokesperson said, "We do not recognise the claims relating to conditions at Harmondsworth. We regard the welfare of people detained in our care as being of utmost importance. Protecting the UK border is our top priority. Our landmark one in, One-out scheme means we can now send those who arrive on small boats straight back to France, striking at the heart of the criminal gang's business model. That is all for today in this video. Please hit like and subscribe for an upcoming video. See you later in the next video. Till then, take care.